So, oh, come the fuck on. Lacking motivation today. Just gonna go back to the if it's not working thing. I'm not gonna do it. So, if they're gonna censor me, well, I'm not gonna keep trying. What's the point? Yeah, and it's funny too because I'm even like still getting like 200-300 views and shit. But it's it's just as anyone who's doing what you need to do. What's up, Beeve? It's it's always difficult. Everything's difficult. Do your best. And you want results. Like, it's weird. It's just weird. At the end of the day, I can't even imagine. Like, if everything I wanted, if I was really the guy that was like, the bad guy. I'm the bad guy, right? And society has deemed me that, and I've got to deal with like the intrusion of it. I don't know. Home time. I don't know what that means. We all bad. I mean, it just. It's disheartening when you take it to the bigger picture, side of things, and you're going. The censorship is it's part of it. It's the same. I don't know. I don't know how much of that I believe. I think people are a lot more similar than we're led to believe. I mean, really, like, how is it possible that they can, like, there's genocide taking place, right? It's genocide. They're literally just wiping out an entire population. And the average person doesn't care. It just seems so strange to me. I've always said, like, if everybody I knew was just happy and life was good for people and nobody complained, you wouldn't see me doing this. What am I complaining about if nobody else is? But the fact that everybody hates everything so much, and yet they're still not willing to, like, see what you hate. That's what I don't get. Like you talk about how you hate the system, you hate poverty, you hate whatever it may be. And then it's like, okay, well, we can fix that. Let's fix it. And no, I just want to hate it. I don't want to fucking do anything about it. It's fascinating. Oh, my house is on fire. Okay, well, let's hurry up and put it out before it spreads. Nah, I just want to complain because the house is on fire. Like, the fuck is that? I hate tax. I mean, it is pretty stupid. Like our whole monetary system is pretty stupid. The idea that like taxes have to exist so that we can pay the government employees, but that's not necessarily true now, is it? right? Like, I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's such a weird system we live in. And it's clearly broken, it's clearly designed, it's clearly bad. Like, so this morning, right? I'm watching a video about just one of these like interrogation kind of videos or whatever. And they're and you see this all the time, right? The dude has attempted to kill his broad. They were doing drugs and drinking in the hotel room when he choked her out and tried to kill her, blah, blah, blah. And then the narrative that's created is she was this loving person, this loving mother of 5 sons who, you know, everybody said was just great, blah, blah, blah. This bitch is hanging out with this guy who's beat her a couple of times, who is a piece. She's hanging out in the hotel, in the motel, a couple miles away from her trailer, where the dude used to live with her and the 5 kids, but he beat her up too bad, so she kicked him out. Now he was a couple of miles away in the trailer, or in the motel, and she's over there taking him food. And it's like, why does the narrative continue to play like she's just this victim? She's clearly not just a victim. I don't know why we have personal tax and GST. Just corporations should be taxed directly. Well, I mean, again, if we were to tax the major league sports, football, baseball, basketball, if those weren't tax-free, how much revenue would that create? Like how much, you know, all the money that's collected in taxes, what percentage of that would be like doubled or whatever if they, because I would assume if they collected taxes from major league sports, you know, we're talking about probably equals the amount of money taken from the people. But I mean, it's hard. Like, how we can't say, well, what would it be like in this situation? Because there isn't that. The proper situation hasn't been allowed to exist, so we don't really know. We don't know how well it would work if everybody was taxed less, or if this was taxed, or if that. We don't know because our situation is so manufactured. And it's so fucking poorly, like, well, I mean, it works really well. It's a well, you know, it works like gangbusters, of course, but it's not. I don't know, it's just the whole thing is just crazy. And I don't know, I guess maybe I'm just going a little nuts with it all. The idea of history being fake and all of that stuff. I mean, there's a lot going on there. And it just, it gets to be overwhelming. And as I always say, like, it's not like there's a place to go. It's a complex network of bullshit. Yeah, it is. Yes, just fell off. Doing the same things. It's not censorship. I love how people, like, the guy that used to get 15, 20,000 views is now getting 100. And what it is it's the guy. It's not the system. That's not what censorship is.
Can you tell me what the Confederate flag stands for other than slavery? Like, from a historical standpoint, what does that Confederate flag stand for other than slavery?
Secession from, well, I mean,
because there's a big debate in the Redford group right now. There was a dude out in Westland, in front of the Westland Police Department, and he was standing there with a giant Confederate flag, and then he had signs. Here's his lovely signs. Black lives don't matter. White man legally rape, rob, lynch, in prison. Like, look at this dude. But he's all covered up because he's a fucking wuss. Okay, so they went and they removed him. The Westland police removed him. But this dude is going on and on and on about you guys are stupid if you think that it stands for slavery. South can be proud of their heritage too.
I mean, the whole thing is stupid. The idea that there's a South, that the South is different than the North. I mean, the problem with people like that is that he's just a racist piece of shit, and he's not willing to be it. Just be it. Just be your racist self, and that's fine. Why do you need everybody to think you're not a racist? But when it comes to this whole concept, like, the Confederacy lasted 4.5 years. Like, you got your, like, it's just stupid. It's like when people pretend the MAGA hat isn't fucking racist. Or when people pretend that their Trump support isn't racist. Right? It's just, it's like, you know, this guy sure probably doesn't want to go back to those days. I mean, it's more, like, it's funny how this shit hasn't happened until recently. Now that Trump's back in office, now you're going to get this stupid shit again. But, like, this idea that it's heritage and not hate. And so you're saying there's not another symbol to represent Southern pride that doesn't have a whole bunch of racist connotations to it that you could use? There's nothing else that represents the South more than the flag of a loser? I mean, it's fucking stupid. How is MAGA and Trump racist? Right. Says somebody who considers themselves a female. I bet you want him to grab you by the pussy, don't you? Surely the flag isn't only racist. No, it's not only racist, but I mean, it is now. You know, it's been identified as racist. It's not like people are like, yeah, well, they had a really good water treatment program.
When was that war?
1861 to 1865, I believe. Or is it 75? Let's see. Just to make sure all our ducks are in a row. Civil War, 1861 to 1865. Right. 4 years. You lost. But I mean, it's insane. Like, I love when people are like, Trump isn't racist. Never mind all the people around him that have said it for years. Not all the people of color around him. You know, Omarosa's book came out, and she had quotes. And she had, like, it was a big deal until it came out, and it was like, hey, this makes Trump look bad. And then it just disappeared. But MAGA, Make America Great Again. How is that racist? Well, considering it's an actual KKK slogan, but when are we talking about? When was America great again? When was America? Oh, yep, 420 says a lot. Yep. I mean, it's fucking stupid. Like, I love. What about that flag makes it racist? Well, the flag itself isn't racist, but it represents racism. It's not like people fly the flag because. Why isn't anybody jumping to tell us what the South meant? Right? Why doesn't everybody say no? The South stood for this, and the South stood for that, and the South stood for this and that. Because that's not what it's about. It's like how people don't argue, you know, the swastika, the Nazi flag. Well, the swastika is an old symbol that blah, 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 but you can't fly it without people having it because it's been adopted and adapted to mean this in our society.
Right.
So whether you have good intentions in flying it or not is one thing. You should expect that people are going to be like, hey, what the fuck are you flying that for? Especially with as duped as we've been. But the flag. The flag is stupid. It's stupid. It's a way for racist people to be racist. Because again, nobody's flying that flag because they want, some other shit that it represented. And the MAGA thing, again, is literally a KKK slogan, but even still, when are you talking about? The idea of making America great again. Well, when was America great? And who was it great for? Because up until now, it's been worse for people of color, women, gay, all the people that aren't white Christian racists who are going to, gay shouldn't be in schools. Oh yeah, Wally's a douche. I forgot about that. They have no fucking tolerance for you. You're a bigot and you're a piece of shit. It's always the same shit. It's white people mad because they don't get to be the white pieces of shit that they are. And I just, what do you like the embarrassing argument? Like, what do you mean? What why is that guy flying the Confederate flag like he is with the signs that he's flying? Is this a commentary on the government taxes system? Is this a commentary on clean air, getting the fluoride out of the water? Is that what he was trying to do? Was that guy standing up for, stop sending our American tax dollars over to murder fucking Palestinians and shit? Is that what his Confederate flag was representing? Is he out there going, hey, this is our flag. Let's all unify. We're all one people together. No. Oh, yes. I've absorbed too much mainstream media. That's what I do. I watch the MSNBC and shit like that. I love how people say stupid things when they can't actually make an argument. I have literally set you up at this point where you could be saying, dude, you're wrong about this, you're wrong about that, the South stands for this, blah, blah, blah. You could be saying anything. But because you can't, because you're too dumb to be able to do it, you just start saying dumb shit. It's amazing. It's just, and it just shows you how stupid you are to begin with. The whole idea of the Civil War and all that, I don't buy it. Personally, I don't believe in the whole thing. I think it's just a bunch of shit, especially when you start looking into the characters and how the characters are all related. And, it's just bullshit. It's just more bullshit to sow seeds, to keep us hating each other and fighting each other. I mean, the reality is, if it weren't for the myth of the big black dick, there wouldn't be nearly as much racism. But it's that big black dick that has, that's sort of fostered this whole thing, And you could say, oh, well, why would women then be? Because women have to deal with that. Women have to deal, as a woman, I guarantee any woman here that's being honest will attest. The last thing your white boyfriend wants to hear is that at any point in your history you slept with a black dude. And it's not because he thinks you're contaminated or some shit now. It's because he's fucking insecure. Because the big black scary dick is the one thing that white money can't buy. It's the one thing that is kept. It's the one thing that separates things, right? White people can control everything. White people You know, they have all the law, they have the entertainment, you know, and white people meaning Jays, of course. But you know, you can buy this, you can buy that. The last thing, the thing you can't buy is your girl getting gorilla fucked. Some black dude with a fucking 10-inch cock just so she's all sore the next day and fucking she's the guy or he's the guy that she thinks about when she's jerking off later on. When you haven't satisfied her and she thinks you fell asleep, so she, you know, double clicks the mouse.
So my response to him was, that flag most certainly is the epitome of racism. Like, literally. Perhaps back in the 1800s it stood for something else in addition to racism, but that was always the main premise of its symbolism. The signs that piece of shit is holding just validates the current sentiment of that flag. Yes, the swastika was originally a pagan symbol of peace, because somebody else had mentioned that, but was later adopted by an administration as a symbol of prejudice and genocide. It still holds its proper place within the pagan community, but even they wouldn't consider flying a flag with it upon it out of respect for those that were persecuted under that symbolism. It's called common decency and compassion for your fellow.
It's not out of respect, it's out of fear.
If your heritage resides in the southern states, make some sweet potato pie and share it with your northern friends. It's common knowledge that flying that flag is a way of passive-aggressively showing your racism and spreading hateful feelings. I thank you for your service, because he served and was in the war. Truly, but pity your chosen ignorance.
But wait, why is anybody arguing? Do they not see the signs that he's holding with the flag?
Well, he said, well, never mind this. I'm talking about the flag. Because his comment was, the South will rise again, was his comment to the whole post.
Let me guess. You're a short, fat white guy in your 40s or 50s. Or you're like this 20-something who's, you know.
No, he's in his, he's in war. He's in his 50s.
Yeah, he's a fucking doofus. That's a little dick white guy who is super insecure. That's literally what it comes down to. And again, this is a question for all the females out there. You've dated a bunch of dudes in your life. When it comes down to the most tolerant guys, the guys who were like, I don't care what you wear. I care. The guys who weren't worried about you being friends with black or that you had slept with a black guy or anything. The guys that don't care about gay and all that stuff, those guys are the white guys with the big dicks. And I guarantee women can attest to that. Whether they're going to be honest or not, that's a whole different thing.
This dude called him a worthless clown. So he responds, well, good thing I didn't think the same about you when I raised my right hand and went to war for you. I'm just glad I didn't die for someone who's so uneducated.
You should say to that, no, you almost died for Israeli shit. But I guess we don't want to talk about that part. Because everybody that talks about how they went to war for our freedom is fucking, it's bullshit. Our freedom has never been in danger. This British MP is a fucking doers too. I'm sure. Right. Well, we know that alpha female, the Trump supporter, is going to tell the truth no matter what, right?
The true history of that flag was war instead of what people think it stood for. Nothing wrong with Southern pride. Y'all Yankees seem to be proud of the North, right? South to be proud.
Yeah, no, there is no Northern flag. No, dumbass. The North people don't walk around calling ourselves Yankees and shit like that. No, you guys do that. Because you guys were duped into... It's just about division. It's the us versus them thing, but it's us versus us. That's what they want. And it goes from the smallest levels to the highest levels. You and your neighbor have a competition. You and your brother have competition to see who's the dad's favorite. You and your neighbor have a competition to see who has the better yard. Your neighborhood and the other neighborhood has a competition to see what's the nicest neighborhood to live in. The city, and then as soon as you incorporate sports into it, I mean, we've been had that mentality pushed, 4 or 5 years old, you're out there learning the basics of my team versus your team. And you know, they've proved the you know, they've proved that, they've extended that, they've strengthened that with everything that they've done. I mean, again, you know, we hate each other. My sports team, my basketball team represents, you know, if you happen to live in a one basketball team state, then that's your, and I'm against the other states because they have the different basketball team. Like here in Michigan, we hate people from Ohio. We don't even know why. I mean, you know, the cops in Ohio are dicks, but the cops in Ohio hate people from Michigan. They unfairly target people from Michigan. If they see Michigan plates, they'll target you. And then they'll treat you like shit. Wait. Go ahead.
You can be proud of your heritage without flying a flag that everybody associates with slavery. Should I start flying the Nazi flag because I have German ancestry? Or should I just eat my pretzels and sauerkraut?
I mean, it's just stupid shit.
Perfect.
We don't have to agree with you. No, you don't. But you do your best to sort of disagree, but you don't. So you're saying you banged a bunch of big dick white guys who were the most bigoted of them all, huh? That's not true. That's not true. There might be anomalies. There might be the occasional whatever. But no, the majority of the most racist, homophobic, sexist, piece of shit guys you'll ever meet are the guys with the small dicks. You stereotype too much. It's not 2 words. Yep, I stereotype too much. I just love how instead of telling me what I'm wrong about, it's just more of the bullshit. Just more bullshit. I mean, again, to think that there's some sort of, that you're a southerner and I'm a northerner and that just makes us different.
He says Black History Month is what's racist.
I mean, Black History Month is. It's meant to be. It's weird because it's like Black History Month had to exist because racist whites refused to incorporate, you know, that kind of history into the narrative, into the curriculum. But then the Jays that do control things were like, you know, this will make for more division in the long run. Let's run with it. There's a great interview with Morgan Freeman. And he's being interviewed on 60 Minutes or something like that by Maury, what's his name. And Morgan sounds like an idiot talking about we need to just stop talking about racism. That'll get rid of it when we stop talking about it. That's a stupid thing to say. But at one point, Maury, what's his name, says, well, I hear you also want to get rid of Black History Month. And Morgan goes, yeah, it's bad. Do you want a Jewish History Month? And Maury, before he can even finish, go, no. Why not? He doesn't give him the follow-up question of why not.
This chick says, you can't make this statement while there's a sign that says white crime pays next to your not slavery Southern pride flag.
Right.
Exactly.
I don't think most of us white males are worried about big... Yeah, you are. If you have a small dick, you are. You know, if you have a big or at least a normal size, an average size dick, you might not, you know. But when it comes down to, again, finding out your girl slept with a black dude, what's your problem? What would be the issue then, other than racist bullshit?
It's part of America's history. It is most certainly American, 100%. If you want to focus on one part of the past, so be it. But that flag stands for a lot more than just slavery. Educate yourself.
Okay, why? See, that's one of those statements. Like, that's the shit I get on my feed, right?
This is all the same guy.
Right. But that's So why don't you give some examples of what it stood for instead of continuing to say that it stood for way more than?
This chick says, just because something is part of American history doesn't mean that it adheres to the ideals of our nation.
I don't care.
They seceded from the Union. They fought against the United States of America. If you want to focus on one part of the past, what are you talking about? The picture is of a Confederate flag, which is one part of the past, not referring to multiple eras in history. What else does the flag stand for? Pray tell. Why did the states secede from the Union? That's it in a nutshell. Why did they secede from the Union to begin with? So they could keep slaves.
That's part of it, yes.
That was the main part of it.
That is the main part of it. I know, but that is part of it.
So what are the other reasons?
I don't know.
This person says, please educate me. And maybe educate the white supremacist dude, because it obviously means something very specific to him based on his signs.
Again, I just don't care what all these people think. I'm sorry, but I don't care. You know, these people, like, these are the same people that still believe the narrative that it happened without even beginning to question the legitimacy of any of it.
So he puts a link, myths and misunderstandings of the Confederate flag.
Uh-huh.
So let's see what they say.
I mean, this is stupid. I mean, it's us being tricked into focusing on a past we cannot validate. You guys just don't understand that. And seriously, while this is happening, because we've all heard about the Civil War and in 1860 the Civil War and the slaves and the blah 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 blah. But you didn't hear about the pneumatic tubes at that time, right?
Nope.
And you didn't hear about the clock networks. Nope. And you didn't hear about the tunnel systems and the what's it called? All the big underground where all the bones are. Can't think of the word right now. But there's so much shit from that time that is completely omitted from our history. And yet again, we all know about this Civil War shit. We fight about it. This dude is flying a flag that's well over 100 years old of a loser team that lasted 4 years. That's like somebody rocking, you know, a basketball team comes into the league for 4 years and loses every fucking game, and then after 4 years they fail. And here we are all these years later, and people are still like, no, I love that team that lost every game. Like, it's just stupid.
Supporters of the states' right party, aka the Dixiecrats, in 1948 embraced the flag as a symbol for support for segregation. Racism, right there, it just said it. I'm reading an article that this dude sent a link to.
You only care what you think then. Yep, that's what I'm doing. See, again, why aren't people just saying the thing? Why do they always do this kind of shit? I mean, I know why. I know it's because, look, if this dumb broad could actually argue anything, she would. She's this entitled broad. I don't know if she's attractive. If she's attractive, it's even worse. But she's entitled. She thinks because every dude she comes across at some point or another wants to sleep with her, and that they'll all put up with her shit because, you know, they want that slim chance of sleeping with her. She thinks that's how the world works. The way females see the world is just so much different than men do. The fact you can't get punched in the face, you know, the fact that you can shake your little titties and get guys to go, okay, I'll buy you stuff. You have this completely distorted, delusional perspective of the way the world works. And it's really interesting. You know, this idea that you think that because you come in and tell me I'm wrong, I'm supposed to go, oh, well, shit, I guess I'm wrong then because some broad said so. You know, you guys have this again, that perspective that you're so like, you pretend like it's not that case that way, right? You pretend like, oh, I would never do that, but you know that that's how it is. You know that people don't give you their honest opinions, especially dudes. And especially if it's you can flirt your way through things. Like, you can change people's perspective. If you're an attractive female, the life that you've led is completely different than the rest of us. Than dudes and ugly chicks. Like, it's phenomenal how delusional this shit is. Look at this. Go clean your cat. Yep. Clean this. I can iron that. Your shirt should be in the garbage. Yep. Triggered by some bra. Yep. See, look at this. Look at this chick she's so stupid. Like, she can't help it. And now she's retracting all of her comments to show just how stupid she is. Like, it really is shocking that people can be that stupid. And I mean, this is Israel, if you open the books on Israel, you demonize Israel kind of shit. It's that same fucking nonsense. And nobody's supposed to go, oh, well, if Israel wasn't doing a whole bunch of horrible shit, then they couldn't be demonized, right? Like, nobody says that. But these Israelis, they get away with the same clownish. If you can't look at Israel, if you look at Israel, that demonizes Israel. You can't demonize somebody that isn't doing bad shit.
Some guy says,
for someone so tolerant, you seem to dislike a lot of people. I dislike stupidity. Look, this broad keeps typing stuff and then removing it before I can even read it. Does that not, like, the problem is, if you guys were honest and you guys were like, damn, you're actually proving the point and blah, 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 then I would take your opinions more realistically, more seriously. But the fact that people don't, they go, oh no, that totally makes sense that this broad would say stupid shit and then delete it and then say, because, she knows she's right. That's what you do when you know you're right.
this guy says, wait a second, didn't they lose the war?
Yeah. 4 years. They lasted 4 fucking years. I mean, it's just, again, it just seems so stupid to me. The whole Civil War narrative just seems so stupid to me. How they say that 1% of the population was actually rich enough to own slaves. Hey, real quick, what percentage of the American population do the Jays make up? Just quick. 2%? 2%. Now. There's difference between stupidity and different opinions. I guess, but if the opinion is based in stupidity, then it should be stupid, right? You should stagger your favorite races from most favorite to least. I don't see, that's what I mean. Like, who says something stupid like that? You've never heard me talk bad about a race of people. You've never heard me talk bad about something that someone can't help. Oh, all those people who wear glasses. Stupid eye failures. Ha ha. Your eyes don't work right. Ha ha. That's your fault. Who says stuff like that? You'll never hear me make racist comments. Doesn't work, doesn't happen. Let's see who falls for that trap. When you only read the stupid comments, that's what you're going to get. Right, because there's all these intelligent comments on here. Rank, not rate. You said you should rate. But even still, ranking races is like a stupid thing to say. Ranking, rating, you know, doing anything but like appreciating is. But see, look at how people fucking, you know, like people just, it's desperation. One person's stupidity is another person's intelligence. That was a stupid thing to say. That was a stupid thing to say. I guess it's true though, isn't it? Right? But I kind of think stupidity is universal. It's universal. Whether it's seen or acknowledged is one thing, but stupidity is universal. Stupid people are going to fail in any situation if they're stupid. You know, they may have some savant talent of some sort, but as far as stupidity goes, stupidity is universal. I mean, not again. If I was wrong, then people would be able to tell me what I'm wrong about. You wouldn't get stupid girls. What's up, Karen? You wouldn't get stupid girls that come in here talking nonsense and then deleting their comments because they realize how stupid it is. She knew she said stupid shit. And for some reason, she thinks that like other people she knows might see this or something. I don't know. I just, the arrogance of people always surprises me. Call me stupid and said it was true. Yep. Yeah, that happens. It was I didn't call you stupid because again, look at how desperate people are. You're so desperate to make your point that you say things wrong. I said that was a stupid thing to say. And then I said, but I guess it's kind of true, right? Because, you know, the limit of your intelligence is probably something I find to be stupid. And it's so funny to me, like I end up getting stuck pointing out these obviously stupid things because instead of you guys pointing out how I'm obviously stupid about this or that or whatever, you want to play these dumb games, or I guess you're trying your best. I just don't understand the motivation. This is where like I think differently than you. I don't understand why you want me to be wrong. Like, what is it about what I say that you disagree with again? I get that you're a bigot in like Beeve. Beeve's a bigot. He hates gay people. Like, but you can't make a reasonable argument as to why. You just, you know, you're letting your bigot flag fly. And for me, it's like, it's all pretty simple. And I've said this time and time again. Everyone should lay their cards out on the table. You're not going to hurt. There's nothing any of you could say that'll hurt my feelings. You don't have the ability to hurt my feelings. I don't allow you to hurt my feelings. Like there's a big difference. People don't seem to understand that. People only hurt your feelings when you allow them to. You're going to let some weird strangers affect you in any kind of way? That again points to your stupidity. Well, you're a psychopath. Yes, I am a psychopath. Sounds like a pretty desperate dumb broad to me. Desperation time. I can't debunk anything you say, so I'm going to just resort to this. I'm still watching, though. Don't get it twisted. I'm still watching and still deleting. You do hate gay people. You already said it. Name calling is all you have, says the person who just called me a psychopath. No, I've pretty much beaten up every single thing you've said and pointed out how stupid you have to be. Right? It's just a 1 + 1 thing. Yeah. You don't really listen to anybody, honestly. Yep. One, I can't hear you. But two, what am I supposed to be listening to again there, Ryan? What thing? What great revelation is anybody putting on here that I'm supposed to listen to? Nobody fucking says anything. You can't. You have nothing to say. What are your thoughts on the Dunning-Kruger effect? Don't know what that is. Let's look it up. D-U-N-N-I-N-G. Dunning-Kruger effect. That's a big thing right now. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a cognitive bias that causes people to overestimate their knowledge or abilities in a particular area. I think that's one of those desperate things that people will say. Right? When you can't, like, if I'm so, what is it? If I overestimate my knowledge so much, then why don't you just tell me what I'm wrong about and then see whose arguments outweigh whose? Like this seems like, I feel like I end up saying the same thing way more than I should. You know, you could say all kinds of stupid shit. I don't sit here and claim to be the expert in everything. But when it comes to the things that I'm talking about, especially based on experience, especially based on having done this every day and doing what I do, you know, if I was wrong, clowns like that, you are so desperate to get me on something that you come with that. Instead of actually telling me what I'm really wrong about, you went and found this. Or maybe you just happen to know about it or something. But that's literally the only thing that you've been able to come up with. And I was like, oh, I don't know what that is, admitting I don't know what that is. I then look it up, and it's not like I go, it's fucking easy. And this is all instead of telling me that I'm, you know, how I'm wrong about the J supremacy or Hollywoodism or, you know, the historic, like, it's not like you're debunking me on anything I'm saying about the Civil War or anything like that. You're not even making points. But, you know, I must be overestimating my knowledge. If anything, I think I'm underestimating you. Can't fix stupid. No, but here we go. He has that on his brain this morning. Came out of the gate talking about Kitty and grabbing it, and then on the beach. Look at how desperate you are. Holy shit. No, when a dumb female says that she supports Trump, I'm always going to ask, did you want him to grab you by the pussy? Remember, that's how that works. But when we're talking about big black cocks, we're talking about racism, sweetheart. Okay? I get it. This is like, you're like a secretary standing in the boardroom meeting or whatever, and you're just walking around getting your ass slapped, and you're like, hee, hee, hee. Like, are you really not able to follow what's happening here? Are you not able to follow what's happening here? I mean, seriously. Well, we can't see what you said now, can we? Because you've deleted your comments. Oh, isn't that convenient? Oh, isn't that convenient? They would slap your ass before they would slap mine. Wow, I'm that much more attractive than you? Jesus. Someone supporting Trump isn't necessarily a racist. Right, they can be an Uncle Tom. Yeah, no doubt about it. But you can't do that. See, this is that white privilege thing that you guys seem to love so much, right? Right. I know he's racist and all, but he does good stuff on the other side. And, you know, I'm a white, so the racist stuff doesn't affect me, so I can overlook it. Do you know how stupid you are? Yeah, that guy, okay, listen. Every once in a while, he rapes a child. But he gives all kinds of money to, like, child protective services and He has all kinds of fundraisers for children. I think he might actually use the fundraisers to find his victims. But still, think of all the other kids he helps during that fundraiser. So what? One or two of them get fucking violated. That's a good guy, right? He just because he violates some children doesn't mean he violates all children, right? Isn't that how that works?
No.
I'm glad you did too. You never talk like that with your boys. I don't know what you're talking about, but if you think there's anything different about the person my kids see and you see, you're sadly mistaken. He's big mad because his SSDI check is in danger. Yeah, that's what it is. That is called ad hominem, right? When somebody can't address what somebody is saying, they start making up goofy nonsense based on that person's perceived character or whatever. I get it, dude. You're dumb. Like every time you guys do that, don't you get it? You make my head even bigger. You build my ego. Instead of knocking my ego down by debunking the things that I'm saying and making me look stupid, every single time you say something that isn't about what we're talking about, trying to, I'm gonna try to get you, I'm trying to hurt your feelings. What you're saying is hurting my feelings, so I'm gonna try to get you back. Every single time you do that, instead of directly addressing what I'm saying, you build me up, you motivate me, you elevate me. Was I in the military? Fuck no, never that stupid. Oh, Jesus. There's obviously a lot more people to politics. Dixie people that worked get SSDI. Right. Yeah, I've never worked in my life. All right, only thing he ever worked was his neck while he was in prison. Yep. While I was in prison, I was sucking dicks. And now, like, you understand, like, you can't have both. How am I living this kingly life if I never worked to get the SSI? How does this work? How does this happen? You say a lot of words, but they don't mean anything. They mean a lot to you, you dumbass. Oh, you're the Dixie person. So you're one of them Southern pride. I'm a Dixie person. Look at me. I'm from the South. Do. God, you're so stupid. Like, again, nobody here in the North walks around like Northern pride, baby. Man, I'm so proud to be from the North, especially considering we won the fucking war. Since we kicked the shit out of the South, I'm so proud to be part of this. Yo, I'm a Northerner. It's amazing how we're not dumb enough to say that. And yet the losers walk around talking about how proud they are. That's pretty funny. That's an interesting, like example of psychology there. Right? Like, you got to sit there and just keep constantly reassuring yourself. No, it's good. I have Southern pride. No, I'm Southern pride. I'm proud to be from the South. You know, because the connotations associated with it, because anybody that's not from the South hears you say, oh, well, I'm from the South, and they go, oh. Like you have to, you know, one of the things that bothers you so much is because everybody that hears you talk immediately thinks you're stupid. And you have to prove that you're not stupid. And the fucked up part is you guys are too dumb to realize that that's all manufactured. Again, more chosen bullshit. You guys were manufactured into being, you know, the ignorant fucking slaves that you're supposed to be. The same thing they did to black people, they did it to white people, and white people just don't realize it was done to them. The whole creation of the South and the Southern accent and the way, all of that shit. That's all Jay nonsense. They're the ones that gave you shows like the Beverly Hillbillies with a whole bunch, it's all Jays, whole J cast, pretending to be some hillbillies standing around the cement pond. Ellie Mae can talk to the animals. Oh, do. And good old Jethro. Well, Jethro is just dumb and stupid. Big, dumb, and stupid. I mean, it's so fucking silly. And that whole, like, the whole narrative, they created it. Like the whole idea of like the cowboys and the South and all those, like, so while New York and shit and all the major cities in the Midwest and all that, these were these gigantic skyscraper cities with underground tunnel systems and pneumatic tubes and all these things. While just a little bit away, they were walking around. Hey there, partner. How you doing? Do. Yep. Yeah, that's believable. Oh, and then there's the whole, California, because California, and actually every fucking state in the union, every state in the country, they all have these crazy buildings that, man, somehow they sure did go from cowboys and Indians to big giant, like Balboa Park. The history of Balboa Park in California. What cowboys and Indians built that again? My lunch break did a fantastic job with Balboa Park. I love when people say shit like, he's ranting. You guys realize, like, this isn't like a one-on-one conversation and that I'm doing a live video. So the majority of the video is going to be me talking about stuff, right? Like, yeah, how can you be that desperate? Just desperate. Why are we always dumb? Because you're made to be that way. You are made to be that way. That's why, that's why we are the way we are. I mean, it's like we're not talking about some hidden secrets here. When you look at Rockefeller and Rockefeller's guy, I don't remember the guy's name, but Rockefeller's guy was interviewed and said, we don't want the doctor, or we don't want the poets and the laureates and the people with word, like, we don't want the best of the best. We want good slaves. Slaves that are smart enough to work our machines but not realize they're slaves. I just read it the other day. I'm not gonna go find it again right now, but are you the only smart one? Well, I'm smarter than you guys are. And see, this is one of those things that it just shows you how arrogant and stupid they have made us, right? You guys can go back and watch decades, over a decade at this point. Well, you would be able to if those videos, if the first channel was still there. It'd go all the way back to when we could first go live and blah, blah, blah. You have watched me every day go live in an open arena, challenging anyone who thinks they know more than me to come show me how you know more than I do. You've watched me read endless pieces of information that they want us to know. I don't read the conspiracy stuff. I don't go down that tube anymore. I went down it for a while, but it was too easy for you guys to ignore it by saying, oh, where'd you get that information from? So I decided to nip that in the bud. I use this analogy a lot, but if you guys have been watching me practice my basketball every day for 2-3 hours for the last 10 plus years, I set up a camera and you watched as I started off, okay, I could make a shot or two, I could dribble. But you watched as I taught myself how to dribble with my left hand and go around the back and do all these crazy moves. And you watched as I improved to the point where I could shoot it from anywhere at the hoop I use and make it over and over again. 90% efficiency. If I then said, I'm a better basketball player than everyone watching me, nobody's going to get offended. There are people that might go, you know what, I don't believe you are. I practice, I play a lot, so I'd like to challenge you. And if it was me, okay, let's see it. But what I'm getting more than anything is a bunch of dumbasses who sit around doing nothing, who maybe played basketball in middle school or high school or some shit. But it's been many, many years since they've played. They sit they sit and watch me do stuff. They watch me play, and vicariously they think, oh, yeah, I could beat you. That's when your arrogance comes in. My ego is in check. I've taught myself these things. I've looked up what they want me to know. I've thrown it out there for decades saying, please, if I'm wrong about something, tell me what I'm wrong about. And all I've gotten for years is this same kind of bullshit. Same crybaby, well, we did try to debunk it, but blah, 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 blah. You just did all the same fucking dumb excuses that it always is. Because you guys are so arrogant, you think that you could just get off the couch and beat me in basketball. Now, this is an analogy, again, for those of you that don't understand, like that female. This is called an analogy. I'm not actually playing basketball, just so you know. But when it comes to this stuff, like it's like I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and you guys are a bunch of white belts. And I'm supposed to sit here and take you seriously? Well, why not? I'm a white belt. Look at me, I'm a green belt. Yeah, I've been doing Jiu-Jitsu for a year. So why aren't you giving me, why don't you think I could beat you? Why don't you ever think any of us could beat you? Why do you sit here and think you're right all the time? Why aren't you just arguing things that you think you're wrong about instead? That's what we do, right? But that's called answering a question, right? That's addressing when somebody says something, then you address what's being said. See, you say this, generally I agree, but you say, see, people say that shit all the time. And whenever somebody says shit like that, what do I say? Oh, thanks for agreeing with me. Oh, I needed that. Thank you so much. Or is my response every single time, well, what is it that you disagree with?
This is in Germany, a parade float that was made. How fucking funny is that?
Should be Netanyahu. People don't know how to research. And the thing is, I'm literally showing you. I'm literally going live and saying, all right, what's a thing that we should look into? Let's look up Operation Cast Thy Bread. Well, actually, I didn't know to look that up. I don't know how I stumbled across that. But the idea that Jays poison drinking water wells. This is a concept that has followed them throughout all of the historical record. That they were the only ones that were that fucking sick that they would put poison in drinking water systems. And they always say, oh, that's a horrible trope. You can't say that's anti-Semitism. That's an anti-Semitic trope. That's a trope. Well, come to find out, Operation Cast Thy Bread is an official Israeli operation that did just that. Poison drinking water wells. That's how they were able to get their foothold. The first major city taken over when Israel was established was Acre. In Acre, they poisoned the drinking water system before they launched the offensive, making the people easier to control. That's why you can't read your feed and answer questions in a timely manner and then just call everybody. Do you understand how this works? I can't read every question and answer every question and do a presentation of the information I have, you dumbass. How the fuck? Oh, so I'm just supposed to sit here and answer questions, and not just answer questions, but answer stupidity. Just stupid shit like you just said over and over again. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to move past it. Submarines are real. Okay, well, then go to the first 9 parts and debunk it. 10,000 hours to hone your craft. They say if you've done anything for 10,000 hours or more, you're an expert at it. They watch it, but they don't get paid on you. What's this guy's name? I don't know what you're talking about. But the entertainment value, it is so funny watching somebody talk about genocide and J slavery and pedophilia and how anybody that doesn't like actively, fight those things supports those things. Yeah, that's fucking hilarious. Here's so far behind the defeat, it better. Blah, blah, blah. Yep. What I should do is put my wife on so she can explain herself. Yeah. Because you definitely can't best me, right? That's the dumb female that keeps getting her ass beat in this and sticks around for it. Tells you a lot. Again, all you have to do, I've said this time and time again, all you have to do is pick something that I'm wrong about and then tell me how and why I'm wrong. Now, you can't be arrogant, right? You can't just assume that just because you said it, I'm going to go, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm wrong. Right? That's not the case. Unless you actually say something like mind-blowing, I'm probably going to have a response to whatever you say. That's how a dialogue goes. That's how a debate goes. You say something, I say something, you say something, so on and so forth, until we get to the point where one of us can't answer any more questions, and they go, you know what? Hey, I'm out. You got me. You must be right. That's how it should go. It looks like everyone in the feed is focused on you. You're the only focused on me. You're the only focused on me. Yep. Her fat little fingers. So now, I love how when I read the comments, then I'm wrong because I'm not blah, blah. But if I don't read the comments, then I'm wrong because I'm blah, blah. And I just, all I can say is thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Every single thing you guys do that doesn't address what I'm saying and instead tries to focus on me, not the bigger picture thing, you're telling me I'm right. This broad has told me over and over again, you're right, I am really stupid, but well, let's hear from your wife. Maybe she'll think I'm stupid too. I guarantee if I think you're stupid, she's going to think you're stupid. Let's talk NASA. Yeah. So, civil rights movement. Oh, I forgot a word. Now it's funny. When you're trying to talk shit and you're trying to say the other person is dumber than you shouldn't get simple things wrong. You should do a quick, proofread of your shit talk before you hit enter. Because, see, I'm going to point out what you get wrong. It's what I do. And not only did I focus on the words you said, but I also focused on the content. It's both things. Funny how you only focused on that one part, but that says everything, doesn't it? Seriously, you're punching up. You're not going to hit anything. And you're making, you're making the point. Like, Karen is at least here to offset the female stupidity. And the only reason Karen is at this point is because at some point Karen was willing to go, you know what? I've been well programmed with female stupidity. And had to do a reset. Had to change things up. Oh, I hit something all right. Yeah, oh, you sure did. Like, think about that. You're so desperate to have some sort of meaning in my life that you're like making things up. Look, I affected you. Look at. Like, you want to affect me so much. And I've already given you the kryptonite. Like, all you have to do is tell me what I'm wrong about, and then you'll really affect me. But you won't do that, huh? And you're just going to keep proving the point. So, I appreciate it. Yes, I have beams. This shit is crazy. This is actually someone I don't think is a bot. I think this is actually just a dumbass. And that's going to happen. There are definitely going to be dumbasses that come through. Just like there's going to be real people that come through. But this is your average American. This is the type of broad that is going to get mad at me when I say things like, because I support women so much, I don't think women should be allowed to be police officers. I don't think women should be allowed to be judges. I don't think women should be allowed to do a lot of that shit as long as we keep saying, like, we should acknowledge their periods. The fact is, you are compromised. Not all of you, not every woman is completely compromised by her period, although she very well should be. But some women are drastically affected by their periods. Some women are drastically affected by their periods some of the time. And during those times, they make irrational decisions. Some just won't be guyanized. I don't want it to be guyanized. There are no bots, LOL. You offended the whole internet in 10 years. Yep, I did the whole internet. So stupid. Is the Trump administration finding loads of government waste and overspending a good thing? It's called a distraction, dude. It's called a distraction. How much of that overspending money they're finding are you getting? How come people are so stupid that they fall for this? Look at all this extra spending they're uncovering and blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, 3 weeks ago, the administration pushed through $7 billion, $7.1 billion worth of weapons given to Israel. Without following all the procedures, going through Congress, getting congressional approval, which they would have. But it was more to just keep it hidden, so we didn't know about it. But it's like Do you honestly think that shit's real? They found $100 million in spending that what nobody knew about it. I still want to know how come the Trumpanzees aren't like really mad at the fact that the grocery prices and the gas prices have gone up. It's not that they've gone down, shit's gone up. I thought shit was supposed to get cut in half. That would actually be something that affects us. When they talk about how Trump is, they're cutting all this government spending and all this other, well, we don't see any of that. That doesn't benefit us. What would benefit us is that promise that half the gas prices and half the grocery prices, because it was Biden and Kamala who sat around figuring out how much more bread should cost and crackers and soup and, sandwich, everything. They had a big list and they were like, all right, starting with avocado, artichokes. How much are artichokes? Artichokes, $3.29, make them $4.29. And they just went down the list and just raised every price. Damn Biden, Kamala. Yeah. Prices will come down. The mess didn't happen overnight. It won't be fixed overnight. Isn't it funny how they say that shit every single time? And just keep giving that money to Israel, right? Keep giving that money to Israel. All they're doing is killing brown people. We already know you don't care about brown people. But you're not racist. And again, it's funny, because this broad started with, how is the boy of Trump, man, racist? When was America great? I want to know when America was great that we're going back to. Tell me that time when America was great, and let's really check it out. I mean, it's like I do my best to answer questions all the time. I put forth questions, but not nearly as much. But when I do, it's like, how come you guys don't answer the questions? Maybe you're black. I doubt it, but if you are, you're even dumber. Is that supposed to throw things off? You're a black female who supports Trump? I highly doubt it. But again, when was America great? Let's see if we can do this. This will be another, 2016 situation where you guys don't like acknowledging the fact that Trump lost the election by 2.7 million votes. And then it was the same swamp that he was going to drain full of Jays, AIPAC, Congress, dual Israeli citizens. It was that group that put him in anyway. Because I don't understand how the Electoral College works. 3 times in modern history, the Electoral College has had to step in and change things. That was when Trump won and when George Bush Jr. won both times. Every other time, shit works just fine. But for some reason, we just didn't get it right, so they had to step in and fix it. 2.7 million more people is a lot of people. You might think 2.7 is a small number, but I mean, if you saw it with all the zeros behind it, maybe that would 2,700,000 more people voted for Hillary. Donald Trump was best buddies with Epstein. And when Epstein died, it was the Trump administration that quashed it, that denied the investigation, that, was like, no, go back to sleep. And then it was the Trump administration that locked us down, that cost so many people their businesses, and so many people lost loved ones that they weren't able to be with, and just so much negative. Our schools, our kids got so fucked up from all that shit. Yeah, that was Trump. As much as you Trumpansies want to forget about it, those were Trump things. It was pretty great in the 80s and 90s. Oh, it was? America was great in the 80s and 90s. Okay. $20 million for Sesame Street in Iraq. They would said that they were thinking about giving $5,000 checks for the money they found. Yeah, they were thinking about it. And again, they have to do something to buy the love like they did last time. Like, people talk about it like, dude, the Trump administration gave everyone fucking relief checks and shit. Oh, well, they didn't give them to everyone. And they only gave out relief checks because they fucked everything up. But no, we don't want to talk about that. Hey, we're going to work diligently to tell you what you already know about JFK. Right, they're not going to tell you anything new about JFK. Or if they do, it'll be something like stupid. Such good buddies not on the flight logs. Oh, well, if they tell you he wasn't on the flight logs, he must not have been on the flight logs. Never mind that Trump, Stephanopoulos, and Epstein were known as the Three Amigos or the Three Musketeers for years in the New York nightlife scene. Yeah, never mind all that. He wasn't on the flight logs, so they say. How was America not great in the 80s and 90s, but you can't? How was America not great in the 80s and 90s? Well, it depends on who you're talking about. The 90s, I guess, were pretty good, but Trump didn't have anything to do with that. And there was a lot more going on. Like, we were involved in the Bosnia bullshit, and, there was a lot more going on that we just weren't associated with. The whole president blowjob bullshit. Yeah. I mean, it just keeps going. I don't know what was great about it. There was tremendous drug problems, but they always do that thing where they like make things a little bit better and then they bring it down, but that's not America being great again. Let's get it back to the 90s. Yeah, we're just forgetting about lots of shit then. Let's get it back to the 80s. I mean, I think that's generally how things work, right? The 80s is the next, like when I was my generation, we were the 70s sort of revival, 60s, 70s revival. And that was a redo of the 20s and the early 30s. And then they do the thing where they lock everything down and they use war and they McCarthyism everything. And then we break free, and then and it's just what happens. But as far as a great time goes, well, that just doesn't exist. Especially if you're a person of color, or if you're gay, or if you're trans, or if you're a woman, or, if we're talking about from a whitewash perspective on the surface, how, things all right, things looked all right. But it seems kind of strange that something that was so great could be eliminated by what? What eliminated it? Make America great. Let's get America respect back. Oh, right. Because America doesn't have respect. All those other nations are laughing at us, and we should care. Like, think about what a childish perspective that is. The other nations are laughing. So, you think maybe they're laughing at us because we have an orange president who's a fucking doofus?
Oh, yeah. and we have to pay for our health care.
Wait.
And our education system is a fucking
Right.
joke.
Did we not pay for health care or education in the 80s and 90s? Is that when things were great? Yeah.
The highest population of homelessness. The fact
Prisons,
that we don't take care of our elderly.
our veterans,
Like, yeah, they're laughing at us for all kinds of reasons.
the pedo stuff. The fact that, I mean, the reason most countries don't like us is because of our association with Israel.
We don't have any of that.
Nope. That's the biggest one. Here, hold this. Huh?
I tried to stop there earlier, but there was a sign that said closed for cleaning. He was probably pooping.
He was probably. Because he couldn't say praying because people get mad.
Not at 6:30 in the morning or whatever. Oh, yeah, maybe he was doing his first prayer. I don't know. All I know is I could not enter. That is all I know. Holy crap. We've been really spoiled the last 2 days. Hey, Karen. It's been like, yesterday was like 47 degrees. Right now I think it's like 38 or something. Maybe closer to 40. Holy crap. And it'll be taken away from us, I'm sure. Just to remind us that winter will be back. It always returns. Fucking shit. Hate it. Not a fan. Don't mind the snow. It's the cold and the ice that I cannot handle. We had like Colorado fluffy snow that disappeared during the day because the sun melted it. And then, came back later. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. We don't even, even if we had snow with sunshine here, that'd be cool too. I cannot, my damn. You got blooms on your gardens. Oh, I'm jealous. I want my gardens. But, I'm all about the necessity for the cold and the gardens to rest and the earth to rest. And, I agree with all that. I just can't do the cold and ice anymore. And lack of sunshine.
What are you talking about?
It sucks.
I'm abusive.
Oh, yeah?
I'm abusing you.
I'll kick your ass. They'll never find you.
Compared to other kinds, it was great. It's just amazing. Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness. You're so gorgeous. How did Guy ever land you? He's so ugly and mean and stupid and smelly. The dumb broad, the same dumb broad that has been here the whole time. The one that wants Trump to grab her by the pussy.
Nobody wants Trump to grab us by the pussy.
Well, she does.
Nobody does. No, she does.
No, she does. She's a Trump supporter.
I'm quite sure that doesn't mean she would like him to actually physically touch her anywhere.
Oh, well, it's okay for him to do it to other people then?
No.
Oh. Well, that's the thing. These illusions that people just fall for. This idea of America being great. I mean, again, you don't understand Hollywoodism. And with a lack of understanding comes the ignorance that allows the situation to continue. It's that simple. They flat out tell you everything that they do. Hollywoodism is the confession. Confessions of a J conspiracy or something like that. It could easily be called that because that's what it is. And because you've been programmed to be as stupid as you are, you take offense to that, but in the wrong way. And you don't see what the problem is. You know, you shoot the messenger because you don't like what the messenger says. You know, you've been designed, you've been made to be stupid. You've been made to you know, think you're depressed and to feel bad about yourself and to be insecure and to hate your neighbors, and you know, it's all by design. Yep. I mean, look at how desperate this stupid person is. You know, why would anyone want a person that's saying we should eliminate the Jays and the pedophiles, kind of one in the same, but it does spread out. Why would anyone want that person to stop?
Thank you, sir.
You know, nobody's going to come in here and be like, oh, I'm a pedo and I want to argue for pedos. And they're not going to say that. They're not going to bring that attention onto themselves. Pedos operate in the shadows. You don't know who they are. They stay to themselves and they do all their weird shit in the shadows so you don't see them. And it's what I've always said about a lot of these guys, right? It's like if I'm out walking with my wife's gotten used to it. But, you know, I do the same thing whether if the dude's fucking gorgeous, I'll point the dude out to my wife too. It's not about just that. But if some titties go walking by me, I'm going to be like, holy shit, damn titties. I'm just like, that's just how my programming is. I'm a big fan of titties. Even if I was, you know, if we had just met and we were just sort of hanging out, within a short period of time, you'd figure out that guy likes titties. You know, you'd just see me looking. You'd see me doing things that I don't even realize I do. Well, pedos do the same thing. Pedos don't do that thing with titties. They do that thing with children. And you'd be like, dude, what are you always looking at those kids for? Oh, you know. Pedos have to hide in the shadows because they know that their mannerisms and just their being gives them away. And so they just can't, you know, they have to stay to themselves. They'll make stupid jokes that give them away that most of us would hear and be like, what the fuck? No, that's not funny. Who even thinks along those lines? And so when it comes to a lot of the same shit here, you have to see, you know, they're not going to come out and acknowledge it. You have to pick up on what they say. And you know, the people that are consistently here, they won't tell you why they're here, what has them so bothered, but they constantly want me to stop talking, knowing that my mission statement is that we eliminate the cult and we eliminate the pedos. Well, if your whole goal is that I stop talking and I stop doing my thing, like, that's you acknowledging it. You know, and all you got to do is get them talking about it. See, what they'll do is they'll keep talking about other things, trying to get the conversation off of this topic. Because they know they can't maintain. They can't continue to pull off that they're not a pedo, because they'll say something stupid and out themselves. They always do. Hide in plain sight, working in all the areas children are. For sure. Right? Like, look at this dumb nonsense. Look at how desperate this dumbass is. And you have to ask, like, seriously, who is that stupid? Who is that stupid and that bothered by what I say? There's only like, there's only two groups that are going to be bothered that much. And that's the Jays and the pedos. And it explains a lot, you know. Again, why are you here? What has you upset? You're not going to find out. Yeah, are upset, he says, because his money women let him touch them. Kind of sick, but who has to talk like that in the locker room with the boys? In a locker room setting, yeah. I you know, personally, I don't care. I think it's all just a big dumb joke. Like, I'm not stupid enough to fall for either side. I don't, you know, of course Trump is a piece of shit. Look at the company he's kept. The fact that people want to ignore the Epstein connection, he was not on the flight logs that they produced when they felt like it. And Trump had his own fucking plane. Wonder if Trump's plane ever went to Epstein Island itself. But there's more than enough information that connects Trump and Epstein. But even if there wasn't, when you look at his death and you look at how that scenario was played out, to think that Trump had anything but guilt going, like, it's just, I don't know, it's a weird level of stupid that racism provides, that desperate racism provides. It's the same desperate stupidity, racism that comes on here and tries to say stupid shit. You know, it's that same thing. When you're desperate and racist, and there hasn't been a guy as openly racist and openly shitty as Trump, and that's who you are on the inside. You're this racist piece of shit on the inside. Like, of course you're rooting for Trump, and you're going to overlook things. I did this with Ken O'Keefe, at least for a minute, where I fell in love. This guy was actually saying the right things. You know, most truthers don't talk about Israel, and this guy was fucking saying it, and I was shocked. And I was so enamored by somebody finally saying something that I overlooked things that, you know, glaring red flags. And when the truth was revealed, I didn't maintain faith because I wanted to. The truth is the goal. So when the truth shows that this guy is a piece of shit and just another shill, you can't say, oh, well, I want him not to be, so I'm going to just believe it anyway. You have to go with it. Again, he lost the election by 2.7 million votes, and they put him in anyway. He locked us down. I've had more Trump people tell me that Biden did it. It was Biden. That happened after Trump. I'm like, I can't even believe it. This isn't even a debatable thing. Like, it's not even a questionable thing. It was absolutely the Trump campaign that did it. We've all had pedos self-confess on here before. For sure. But again, there's the people that don't, like, what is the motivation behind the dumbass that keeps talking? I thought it was a female forever. Like, what would be the motivation? People have to, you know, we have to look at everything. We can't just, you know, the evidence for what I'm talking about isn't going to be as obvious. You have to see it. You know, you're not going to have a government shill come on here and be like, this is Officer Agent blah, blah, blah with the blah, blah, blah. And I'm here to say stupid shit to try to, you know, throw off the conversation or make people think, you know, crazy things or blah, you know. That's never going to happen. So the people on here that may be new or the people on here that may be inexperienced or whatever, they might be asking these questions like, what is this person, seeing what this person is saying and wondering why I'd be ignoring it or whatever. So I'm always trying to show you guys different examples. I'm always trying to show you guys evidence. Instead of it being, hey, just have faith. Just trust me because what I say is nice and shiny. I want you guys to whatever questions you have, I want it all out on the table. And I want to be able to provide you with as much evidence as I possibly can. And when it comes to this, especially this Israel stuff, again, no, there's not going to be some, Chaim Dinkelberg that comes on here and, I'm with the IDF, I'm a Israeli Secret Service employee, and I'm here to interfere with your feed by saying stupid shit that has nothing to do with what you're talking about because I'm too much of a stupid coward to actually address what you're saying. That shit's never going to happen. So, people that are looking for evidence, look at what you see. Instead of seeing that, you see the what you do see, which is for some reason some strange person is just really upset about me talking bad about the Jays and pedos and hidden histories and all that shit. And instead of debunking me, making me look anything like that, because they can't, this is what they do. Like, this is your evidence. These are the people that are constantly looking for me to slip up on something so they can point that out. So when that's not happening, when they're not constantly pointing out what I'm getting wrong and how I'm getting wrong, that's them saying I'm right. Understand that there are, this feed used to have thousands of views. This is what censorship is. Censorship isn't that person with hundreds and hundreds of views, or tens and tens of views claiming that, I would have more views. Censorship is when you're new to the thing, you blow up in ways that are sort of unheard of. Back when I have 700 followers, I have 700 subscribers, but I have 12,000 views on my shit. That's not what people do consistently. And I told you guys as it was coming, I said that fucking numbers are going to drop as soon as the Trump administration takes over. Just give it a day or two. And within a day or two, the numbers are what they are now. And it's not like I'm talking about new shit. It's not like I've been proven wrong or to the contrary. Like I've been proven right. Everything I've been talking about for a while now is coming more and more right by the day. And so, again, the evidence, there's not going to be some agent that comes through. This is agent whoever with whatever. Yes, I'm here to confirm that we have shut Guy Williams' feed down because we think he's too dangerous and, this guy's right. They're not going to do that. When you see a guy like Alex Jones, understand you're allowed to see Alex Jones. If they didn't want us, Alex Jones, they would have shut his ass down a long time ago.
Oh my God. So, this dude, he went and bought these. They looked like cheese puffs, but they were bright red. And
the hot ones, yes.
I saw him walking out of the gas station when I was going in. And he comes back in when I was in line. And he starts yelling, telling the gas. He was cool about it. He was like, dude, these are really gross. They're 2 days from expiration, and they taste like motor oil. I'm just going to go see if you got another bag. So the attendant was kind of confused because there were so many people there. And okay, buddy, So then I'm up paying for the blunts, and he comes up and he's like, man, every single bag on your shelf is the same date. He's like, I don't want these. They start getting into this argument right there with a big ass line about, no, you buy chips, you take chips, you go. And he's like, dude, they're bad. They're expired. He goes, you should have checked the bag before you left.
That's not how it works.
And I'm like, why are you defending your employee?
$1.59 bag of chips.
You're a cashier. What the fuck do you care?
Because he's racist. The guy was black, right?
Yes, he was.
There you go. That's what it is, man. Let's see. Man, not Biden definitely Trump. He caught it for the camera.
So the guy left with the open bag of puffs. I'm sure he's going to let Ramsey know. Because I've seen that dude in there a bunch of times. Oh. Why are you defending your fucking stale ass hot puffs? Like, what the fuck do you care?
Doesn't. He thinks the black guy's trying to pull something.
Well, look at the dates. Taste one. I don't know. Like, the premise of customer service has just completely gone out the window.
The problem being, though, so many fucking black people come in there and be dumbasses.
Well,
it's like it's both ways, Yeah, he's being racist, but he deals with black people trying to scam him and pull shit every day, all day long.
I wouldn't say it's just black people.
No doubt. No, I'm not saying. I didn't say just. See, even my wife does it. Everybody says things in a way to make their own argument. I didn't say just black people. I'm saying black people as a whole. Like, it's like the whole idea of black people, unarmed black people getting shot by police. Yes, there are a lot of situations that are really fucked up. But then there are a lot of situations where black people run from police. I mean, what are you doing? We already know they're just looking for a reason to shoot you. So why give them the reason they're looking for? You could be anything, anybody, anywhere. They have to shoot. They have an obligation to shoot you. If I find out, I'm at some light and suddenly some guy comes and yanks me out of the car and steals my car, my kid's in the back seat, whatever it is, And I find out that guy just escaped because, a female cop had him, a couple of female cops had him, and he escaped, and they could have shot him, but they let him run, and he came, and I'm going to be furious at the police for that. Why didn't you shoot that fucking guy? Black, white, whatever it is. If you run from the cops, there's a good chance you're going to get shot.
Duntroon Castle, located on the north side of blah blah blah, Scotland. Believed to be one of the oldest continuously inhabited castles in Scotland, with origins dating back to the 12th century.
Of course. Yeah, that looks believable. That's not even that ornate, though.
Well, I mean, it is. It's just...
It is, but comparatively.
Yeah, but from the 12th century.
Right.
So this is...
It's just stupid. It's just stupid. It's like everything. It's like, am I supposed to believe that Russia is a big, badass superpower that threatens the United States and yada, yada, yada? Or am I supposed to believe that they can't take Ukraine?
I mean, so this is back in the 1100s, right?
What?
They're saying this was built in the 1100s?
No. What's the wording exactly?
Dating back to the 12th century.
It's believed the continuous inhabitants are believed to have been...
With origins dating back to the 12th century.
Yeah, who knows what the fuck that means? And that you'll see that over and over again. Where you think, why don't you just say it like this? Why do you use the term founded with everything? It's the same shit. Was that Scottish? Yes, it was the Skara Bray. Was that it? Because I knew Karen would say something. Oh.
Duntroon Castle.
Duntroon Castle. We don't even know. Karen, the amount of castles and shit all over Scotland.
It's on the north side of Loch Crinan in Argyll, Scotland.
I think I'm standing by my theory that the things that still exist were the lowest end of what they were capable of doing. And they thought for sure, like, of course they're not going to be able to rebuild this thing or that thing, but they'll be able to do this, right? And so they left these other things around thinking we'd be able to redo it. And we never got there. They spent all their good troops early in the war. Sure they did. Oh, you're talking about the Russians. Oh, the Russians. Come on. Come on. It's all so stupid. Like, when you guys want to talk about that stuff, I go, hey, a couple of years back, there was this point where Putin disappeared for like 3 months. Nobody saw him. Nobody knew where he was. He was unaccounted for like 3 months. What happened then? These are the types of things that I want to know about. Do I care about the goofy theater that they show us? You know, because they tell me to care? Sorry, but the whole Israel-Palestine thing has been going on for a much longer time and much more one-sided. And it's like, if this was anything close to the Palestinian thing, then we wouldn't be talking about Trump owning Gaza and, you know, the Palestinians, there'd be deaths on both sides and all this other shit. Actually, according to the narrative, it almost seems like Ukraine's winning. Nobody wants to question why Ukraine outright demanded and then was upset by the fact that Israel outright demanded Israel's support and then was upset that they didn't get it. If you can show me another country ever in the history of history looking to Israel for support in a conflict that seemingly doesn't involve Israel, or at least on the surface.
Ooh, here's a breathtaking view of Jupiter from the Hubble Space Telescope. It's pretty. It's a color by number.
Oh my God, do you honestly believe that?
They used watercolors and pastels.
You honestly believe that's a thing, that's real?
Yes, it's Jupiter from the Hubble Space Telescope. Fucking cynical jerk.
Oh my God, absolutely. Absolutely cynical. I do not trust this situation that tells me the things they tell me. Oh, let's see. We've got some gorgeous stuff. Check out Edinburgh Castle. The UK have just given their assurance and a shitload more money. Yeah, because I don't understand. If you're not going to say anything that matters, why should I read it? Just so you can hear me read your stuff and you go, he read it. He read what I said. Like, unless you're saying something that matters, I'm really bored with reading your stuff.
How how big is our God. Know the greatness, glory on his behalf.
There you go.
Amen and amen. These people are so stupid.
Aries rules Mars. Bro thinks Jupiter is a J conspiracy too. Sheesh. Yeah. The idea of big giant rocks. Well, actually, Jupiter's not a big giant rock, though, right? It's a gas giant. So, I never really understood what that meant. Does that mean what we're seeing isn't necessarily there, it's just gas? And there's a much smaller planet underneath? Like, what does a gas giant mean? Let's find out. Gas giant. A gas giant is a massive planet made up mostly of hydrogen and helium. The gas giants in our solar system are Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Composition made up of mostly hydrogen and helium with a relatively small rocky core. So it is that. So think about this. A few years back, they showed you footage of a comet that broke up and slammed into Jupiter, remember? And they said that it was, like, if it would have hit Earth, it would have been catastrophic, but Jupiter's so big, it didn't notice. But we happened to get footage of it. Remember that?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Do you remember when the comet slammed into Jupiter and they had footage of it, broke up and slammed into Jupiter? And this says they're made up mostly of hydrogen and helium with a relatively small rocky core. Well,
but it hit Jupiter.
It hit Jupiter, right?
The pieces fell off.
The pieces hit Jupiter and
So are they pieces of gas that fell off that we saw?
No, they seemingly, they weren't anywhere near the core.
Right.
But they seemingly hit a planet.
Right.
So what the fuck were we? I remember thinking that when they showed it to us. Like, shouldn't it just disappear into the murky, gassy giant that Jupiter is? Surface. Doesn't have hard surfaces. Instead have swirling gases above a solid core. So I am the crazy one for not believing that that thing that they show us is Jupiter and Saturn and all that stuff, that those are just big gas clouds in a perfect circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
This, okay, it's not me making this shit up. Like, this is what you're supposed to believe. Rotate relatively rapidly. Have wind bands, which are seen as east to west stripes. All four gas giants have rings and moons. Jupiter has rings. Oh, I seem to remember that, but they're really small, right? And they weren't seen or whatever. Gas giants outside our solar system, because we know this too. Gas giants can be much larger than Jupiter. Gas giants close to their stars are often called hot Jupiter. They call them hot Jupiters. Hot Jupiters orbit so close to their stars that their temperatures soar into the thousands of degrees. Formation. If a distant cloud of gas avoids fueling the protostar, its own gravity may cause it to coalesce into a gas giant. So it creates itself. It's its own, it's a thing that pulls the gas in to create the thing. It's a chicken and the egg situation, I guess. The term Jovian means Jupiter-like. the gas giants in our solar system are together known as Jovian giants. Oh, look. Because they're not just laughing at us or anything, chubby girl. Oh my God. A gas giant is a giant planet composed mainly of hydrogen and helium. We know that. We had a big spoon, scooped down into it, took out some of the gas, and pulled it, and we tested it. So then we were like, yeah, this whole thing is made up of these two things. The term gas giant was originally synonymous with giant planet. However, in the 1990s, it became known that Uranus and Neptune are really a distant class of giant planets, being composed mainly of heavier volatile substances, which are referred to as ices. For this reason, Uranus and Neptune are now often classified in a separate category of ice giants. You think you're seeing a planet? It's so funny, too, because everybody argues that all the time. Dude, everything we see in the sky is round. Why would we be anything different? Well, apparently, we're much different than the majority of the other planets. Right? Of the 9 planets, 4 of them are gas giants, ice giants, giants. Look at this shit. So this is Jupiter photographed from New Horizons in January 2007. And this is Saturn at equinox, photographed by Cassini in August 2009. Come on, come on. That is super believable. Which one's a good song title? Team Jesus all the way. Jupiter and Saturn consist mostly of elements such as hydrogen and helium, with heavier elements making up between 3 and 13% of their mass. Oh my God. Between 3 and 13%? Do you know how small that shit is? To say that we know the composition of this thing down to 3 to 13%. I mean, it's just insulting. What are they using? What are they? Oh, well, they know because the way the gas reflects the light. They can tell by the colors that are reflected off of the gases, because different gases reflect light differently. But then it immediately says they are thought to consist of an outer layer of compressed molecular hydrogen surrounding a layer of liquid metallic hydrogen with probably a molten rocky core inside.
That don't make no sense.
So then they're liquid giants.
Right.
Or they're like candy shell giants with liquid on the inside. A compressed layer of molecular hydrogen. It is the lightest element, and at standard conditions is a gas of diatomic molecules with the formula H2, sometimes called dihydrogen, hydrogen gas, molecular hydrogen, or simply hydrogen, why would it be called all those different things? Like if I'm doing, if I'm doing an experiment, I want the recipe to be right. If I'm making a cake, if it's like use sugar, well, what do you mean? Use icing sugar, use brown sugar, use granulated sugar. Like there's a bunch of different sugars I can use. Each one having a different meaning. You don't just say, oh, here's some sugar, and somebody's like, what's that? And you're like, it's brown sugar. What the fuck? I gave you some sugar. No, man, I wanted sugar. Oh, okay. Here. And what's this? Oh, it's icing sugar. Man, I just wanted some sugar for my fucking coffee. Oh, okay. Okay. Hang on a second. And they come back with something like, it is colorless, odorless, non-toxic, and highly combustible. And yet it makes up most of Jupiter and Saturn, huh? Constituting about 75% of all normal matter, hydrogen is the most abundant chemical element in the universe. Stars, including the sun, mainly consist of hydrogen in a plasma state. While on Earth, hydrogen is found in water, organic compounds, as the gas H2, and in other molecular forms. The most common isotope of hydrogen consists of 1 proton, 1 electron, and no neutrons. And here you go. It's represented by the colors on the thing. But that doesn't answer my question, because I wanted to know what specific molecular hydrogen. Okay, so it's just hydrogen then. So it's a colorless, odorless gas. And this is a compressed layer of colorless, odorless gas that has everyone thinking that Jupiter is a planet. And it contains a metallic liquid underneath it. Do you realize, like, if I wasn't reading this to you, and I was just telling you guys this, you'd think I was fucking nuts. Right? You'd be like, dude, you're stupid. Oh, yeah, it's like an M&M with some liquid fucking metal in the middle, right? It's got a candy shell and... Right, okay, dude. You guys all heard about Jupiter's liquid fucking underneath before, right? Liquid metal. Planets covered in T2s. T1000s. Liquid metal alloy. Form anything at once. After all, we have been there. Sure we have. Sure we have. The J8 is more vague and gives you some hiding spots. What are you talking about? That's what I'm most proud of. Most proud of it. So go fuck yourself. And oh my gosh, I just your daily reminder. Hey, at least I've fucking earned a daily reminder, huh? I can't imagine you're sending 8 billion daily reminders, so. The fact I made your list, oh, it hurts my feelings. The outermost, okay, again, they're thought, right? Because again, we've been there, but we haven't been. They are thought to consist of an outer layer of compressed molecular hydrogen surrounding a layer of liquid metallic hydrogen with probably a molten rocky core inside. Well, I mean, you're saying there's 3 layers there. And the molten rocky, what is it? A molten rocky core. What's a molten rocky core? Wouldn't molten rocky be 2 different things?
Yes. Oops.
I mean, I know I'm stupid, right? But molten and rocky don't really go together. So it's a molten rocky core surrounded by they said a relatively small molten rocky core. Surrounded by a huge layer of liquid metallic hydrogen. And then an outer layer of compressed molecular hydrogen. Do you understand like how like these are just theories, but they're like super insulting, right? Because your average person is going to be like, well, I don't know what the fuck that is. And even if you tried to explain it, which you wouldn't be able to, or you wouldn't even be able to try, it just wouldn't work. I mean, it's such a dumb, these are all such dumb concepts that exist literally in make-believe. These dumb concepts that can't be proven in any sort of way, shape, or form in any sort of science experiment or anything other than, well, computer simulations, according to my calculations. But these things that exist in these impossible environments, and you believe that we have it figured out, man. We learned to fly around 100 fucking years ago, and since then, we've got it all figured out. We got it all. We have it so figured out that we went to the moon in '69. We went 6 times through between 69 and 72 or 76, whatever it is. And then we stopped because we have it all figured out. We don't need to go back. We just going. We have it all figured out. We know how the universe works. Molten metal cores and all this other shit. Like, again, I just can't even believe I say this now. It's such a painful thing for me to say, but it's something I have to say as proof of the evolution of the whole thing. Of being the person I've always said I would be. And I can honestly say that the 100% nonsense dumb as hell biblical story as to how things got here makes more sense than the scientific Big Bang bullshit. And if there isn't a story that is more bullshit than that, like, I'd love to know it, because, man, it really is insultingly, like, it's insulting how stupid the intellectual story is. And you're just supposed to believe it. And you do just believe it. I mean, I know you do, because I did. I just believed it. And anytime I had questions or anything like that, I just overrode that shit, like we always do. Like a good Christian. I was a kid when the moon landing took place, and they told you at the very beginning that a lot of it was going to be animated because there was no way to film it. Well, unless you were in Australia, you didn't see it. You saw the delayed secondary filming of a filming of a broadcast.
Oh.
Like, there was no direct line. The whole we went to the moon story is utter bullshit. And the reason they don't do it now is because we are so much more advanced than our predecessors that they can't. They can't pull this shit off. If they tried to do a we're going to the moon thing, we have enough telescopes and cameras that can zoom in and all that shit that we'd be able to see it. People would be able to call it out like, hey, we can see there's nothing going on where you say there's something going on. That's why they don't do it right now. They'll never do it again. They can't. We would. It's just too obvious. And the fact is, the idea that you can see the moon 273,000 miles away from the Earth is fucking stupid. That's how you know it's not that far, because you wouldn't be able to see it. We can't see that far. They had telescopes in houses during the 60s. Dumb fuck! No, they didn't. They didn't have telescopes like they have telescopes now. And when you like, the fact that you think a telescope is allows you to see real far, that's the funny thing, right? People think that the same telescope that they turn sideways and look across the street at their neighbor's house and see like their neighbor's address from here, the neighbor's address to here. Now they can see the neighbor's address. Like, that you think that thing allows you to see into the giggity billions of space. Like, that just shows you how brainwashed you are. I think the more dangerous thing is the thing like the Nikon cameras and shit that can zoom in and you know, like, they see all kinds of shit going on. They see all kinds of shit that shouldn't be seen. Especially if it's X, you know, blah, blah, blah. But no, they didn't have, you know, amazing telescopes like we do now back then. And most people definitely didn't have them. They have stupid things. Like, again, the telescope that you see that I had when I was in the 80s, the telescope that I had, it was so difficult to use. It was a Christmas present, and it was like, it was from my dad. It was a Christmas present from my dad. And, you know, my uncles were 10 and 12 years older than me, so I was only like, you know, 6. So they were like, you know, whatever, 14, 18. So they were excited too. And you would use it, but like, you just couldn't see anything. Like the slightest little wiggle or anything made it move. And it was so disappointing because I remember thinking it was going to let me see, like, you know, space. But it's not like that. That's not how that shit works. Telescopes are just such a joke. And you've seen it in just about every, like, Friends, any TV show that takes place in New York City, where the people, Seinfelds or whatever, they live in a building across the street from another building. There's always an episode where somebody's looking out the window through a telescope and they see something they shouldn't see in an apartment building. Because again, they go from here. It's like, you can't count the hairs on my face right now, but now you can. Now that we've eliminated all of this and just made you focus on right here, now you can count the hairs on my face. That's what telescopes do. Telescopes don't make you see forever. And it's all bullshit. Like, again, can you imagine being dumb enough to think we went to the moon in 1969 and it's 2025 and we don't go back? It's not been popularized. It's because if you were a kid, I was alive back in 1969 when we went to the moon. Do you remember how many times since then you've been told that we were going to have space hotels? That we'd be camping on the moon and all. Like, if you remember the propaganda machine that was in place back then, by 2025, the moon should be the, like, jump off point to go to other places. That's what they used to tell you back then. They also told you that by now, Florida would be underwater, California would be underwater, the East Coast would be on everything because global warming was melting the ice caps. Look at this ice cap calf. Look at it. Big splash. It's the same bullshit scenario over and over and over again. Do you know that global warming has raised the global temperature by as much as 1.5 degrees? Apparently, all of the ice caps in the world and shit were all sitting at 31 degrees. And as soon as we fucking hit that 32 and a half, they started melting. Microscopes are the same thing as telescopes. But microscopes, again, it's one of these things where, okay, so I say, okay, here, look on this microscope. Look on this thing. Okay, you see that thing in there? And you're like, yeah. I don't know if it's an eye floaty or not, but I see something. Oh, well, that's a germ. And that's a virus. And that. How do you know what the fuck you're looking at? You could be just looking at all kinds of different little bugs and shit. We don't know.
He says, oh, God. So let a few ruin a good thing. Forget the origins and just acknowledge what fucked up individuals used it for instead of its original meaning. That's intelligent.
Again, what are you saying?
I said a few?
Just say the point, though. What good things are being ignored?
I said a few. Please cite your sources along with stating all of the other things you keep saying this flag stands for, aside from racism and desire to own people as slaves. I read the article and the link you posted in this thread of comments. Your proof even stated it symbolizes racism and was formally adopted by the Dixiecrats in 1948 for that sentiment. So please, elaborate on all of these other things that flag and Southern pride in general stands for.
I love that girl.
The main reason the main reason of the war was because the South did not want to free the slaves they owned because they liked their free or damn near free servants. Because, they'd have to do their own dishes and raise their own children.
Well, it's much bigger than that, but it's also, there's only 2% or only 2% of the population own slaves. So who the fuck was that? How the fuck they got all those people to die so they could continue to own slaves is a goofy story.
I also said in another comment on somebody else's response, I said the North doesn't fly any sort of flag. The North goes around saying Northern pride. So silly. My family's from Greece, and I most certainly don't go around saying Greek pride, although I can make a pretty mean moussaka. So he responds to me, Yankee.
That's what you get. So you're against racism for blacks. What about Jays? Jays aren't a race, you dumbass. God, I love...
Okay,
I love when people say stupid things like that.
There is no such thing as racism against other minority groups because
racism is systematic. It's not. A lot of times people get prejudice and racism mixed up.
Exactly. And
prejudice is what you see from black people.
Prejudice.
It's a response. It's a result of racism.
What we saw, against the Muslims. It was prejudice.
Well, yeah, it's racism because it's white people, and it's the policies, and it's the that's racism.
That came from black people. That came from Asian people. That came from everybody.
Right, but it was much less in other communities than it was white people, and with white people it lasted a lot longer. I mean, for a while it was fear propaganda and more xenophobia almost, but the reality is. They've been programming us. I mean, it's not even a racism necessarily as it's a religious phobia because racism would connotate a people of a certain place. And that Muslim hatred was widespread. You could even be a Sikh or something that wasn't Muslim, but you looked like it. And because we were so American, pro-America that, yeah. But they used fear. And the reality is, Israel did it. Israel did 9/11. Israel is who controlled our media machine that for years, like immediately, it's interesting how if you look at the kids' cartoons, you'll see patterns, right? So when Russia was the bad guy, the Cold War and all that shit, the cartoons like the Transformers and all that, when they would deal with real life shit, it would usually be with like Arabs. They were making Arabs bad guys. Random Arabs would be a bad guy. Whereas now, you know, when the Arabs were the bad guys, they were making the Russians the bad guys in a lot of things. You would see Russia was the bad guy in movies and all that shit. And that's what they do. They plant those images in us as kids and as you know, as youth growing up, that the bad guys are going to be these guys when we grow up, and that's then what they do. But it's all the same shit. It's all the same, you know. Actually, Jays are a race. No, they're not. You can name off all the shit you want. Those are all just beliefs. You can't convert to a race, you dumbass. This is how you know, like, this is desperation coming in. People can identify as, like, okay, so what is Sephardic? Where does that come from? What region is that? There are lots of people that can identify as Sephardic Jays. Ashkenazi Jays. You could pick and choose whatever you want. When you're black, you're black. There's no any way about it. You don't walk around and people go, "Hey, what are you?" And you go, I'm Chinese." And they're like, "Oh, okay."
Oh yeah, you look Chinese.
When you're Jay, that's a choice. You're choosing to be part of a cult. Yes, there are identifiable features to some groups of people due to inbreeding and whatnot. But there's also a reason why, you know, the people of Gaza and the people of Israel look identical. Because it's the same region of people. But at the end of the day, you know, my hero would be the person that is, you know, raised in the J cult and leaves it and says, "No, I was raised by this cult, but I don't believe in that shit. I'm opposed to it. We're all equal. You know, let's make the world a better place." Like that's that unicorn that I'm still looking for. What about the 12 tribes? Yeah, what about the bullshit narratives that they give us? Yeah. Sorry, not a thing. You start talking about biblical bullshit and all this, just all this fake historical bullshit, which, again, the Jays don't belong to because, well, back then, all of their stuff was oral. That's why it wasn't written down. Oh, that's convenient. How come 23andMe can show you your J heritage then? Because they own that shit and they can make it say whatever they fucking want. Are you like, are you laying me up? Are you like throwing up the alley-oop and I'm supposed to make this spectacular dunk? Is that what your plan is?
Computer programmers.
You know how stupid you sound? So wait, when I take my stuff and I send it over to them, and they do the hooba didda and then they tell me, you know, these things. That's right then, right? They couldn't mess with that at all, could they? Like it's just stupid. Especially when you get something back and they made the commercial about it, right? Where they like the guy was like, "Yeah, we were you know, Scottish our whole lives. We were Irish our whole lives or whatever. We had kilts and we you know, drank Guinness and all the other stereotypes they could associate with it." And then he was like, "And then I did my 23andMe and it came back and it turns out we weren't Irish at all. We were German. So I traded in my kilt for some lederhosen." Like, oh, so all those traditions and family bullshit and all that shit that goes all the way back that you were so proud of, you get this message from this company that tells you something different, and you're like, fuck it all.
Drop it?
Yeah, fuck that.
Oh, that's noble.
That shows you just how easily manipulated you are.
Now, what if you found out that that was bullshit? They made a mistake, and they gave you the wrong history, and you actually are, Scottish. Then what? Then what happens? Drop your lederhosen?
Go right back, because you do what you're told to do.
I mean, that's just silly.
But it's all part of that. It's accentuating shit that in the big picture doesn't matter. Our cultural heritage is cool and stuff, but what matters more is our unified existence. The fact is, you really just don't know shit. There are stories that exist. There are, rumors, whatever, but you don't know. I think a lot of us, the person we think is our grandfather, like especially if you're my age, maybe, 10, 15 years younger than me, and then all the way back. I think a lot of us think our grandfather is our grandfather, and he might not be. Especially if it's if your parent was the first kid in the family, and it basically turns out that they got married because, your mom got pregnant or grandma got pregnant. And it's because you believe that your grandmother was only sleeping with one person at that time. And there's no possible way she might have had more than one partner.
Well, that's because back in the day they did it.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't.
They used to have Makeout Mountain, Makeout Hill, where they would be driving around in these giant queen-size beds on wheels, and they would park. And what, they just make out for a couple hours?
Yes.
And never mind the fact that VD clinics were fucking everywhere at the time. They sprung up out of nowhere, and they were just everywhere. They've even gone away comparatively. Like, I don't even know where you go to a VD clinic now. But those shits were everywhere. What do you think was happening with your grandma? Your grandma was doing all the shit you did. Probably more. Because they had no concept of, like, AIDS and all that shit. AIDS really put a damper on things. Because VD wasn't stopping anybody. But, you want to believe what you want to believe, right? Planned Parenthood is today's common VD clinic. Yeah, but it's not. Like, VD clinics used to be a much less intrusive thing. You could kind of just go to the clinic and get treated and, walk out. It wasn't a big deal. And they were literally just everywhere. Nobody talks about that. When they talk about how technology has taken jobs away, nobody talks about all those poor VD doctors. Lost all that great business. But like, it's just more, more false narrative. We're told that our grandparents and our what would be our great grandparents, although we don't seem to get a lot of stories about them. Like, these were the flappers, and these were the people of the roaring 20s. These people were drinking like crazy. Are we saying they were doing everything crazy but fucking? But fucking?
What?
Is that how we're gonna make it seem that they were partying, cocaine was everywhere, all the like medicine had morphine and shit in it, like Coca-Cola had cocaine in it. They were fucking, people were drinking and doing the fucking Charleston on top of buildings and shit. But they weren't fucking. That's the one place where they drew the line. All right, sir. I had a great day of drinking and drugs and dancing and partying with you. You have a wonderful evening. Oh, you will too, I assume. Because neither one of us are either going to go masturbate. But then you find out that, oh, wait, so porn was actually a lot bigger, more common than we think it was. Like every single generation that bitches and complains, when our generations, when the older generations cry about, the music today, it's like, come on. What the fuck are you talking about? How about not just the typical songs that you know that people will say, like Purple Haze and shit like that. How about songs by like that, what's that song? Young Girl. What's that song? Oh. I don't want to look up the song and then have this shit on. What was the song? Oh. Like, Gary Glitter keeps coming to my head because he's a different pedo. But I'm thinking of something else. Gary Puckett in the Union Gap. Gary Puckett in the Union Gap. So this guy and his band used to dress like fucking soldiers, weird soldiers. But this song was a huge song in 1968. These are the lyrics. Young girl, get out of my mind. My love for you is way out of line. Better run, girl. You're much too young, girl. With all of the charms of a woman, you've kept the secret of your youth. You led me to believe you're old enough to give me your love, and it hurts to know the truth. Whoa, young girl, get out of my mind. My love for you is way out of line. You'd better run, girl. You're much too young, girl. Beneath your perfume and makeup, you're just a baby in disguise. And though you know it's wrong to be alone with me, that come on look is in your eyes. Whoa, young girl, get out of my mind, my love you. So hurry home to your mama. I'm sure she wonders where you are. Get out of here before I have the time to change my mind, because I'm afraid we'll go too far. That was a fucking, like, popular song. That's just one of these guys' songs. Gary Puckett in the Union, and that guy says, like, he was like, look, I wasn't allowed to write my own songs. They had to sing the songs that the Colonel, the guy who like managed them, the J, he gave them the songs, and they had to perform the songs. What's the other one? Lady Willpower. Listen to this one. Lady Willpower. It's now or never. Give me your love. Give your love to me, and I'll shower your heart with tenderness endlessly. I know you want to see me, but you're afraid of what I might have on my mind. One thing you can be assured of, I'll take good care of your love if you will let me give you mine. Lady Willpower, it's now or never. Give your love to me, and I'll shower your heart with tenderness endlessly. Did no one ever tell you the facts of life? Well, there's so much you have to learn, and I would gladly teach you if I could only reach you and get your loving in return. Like, this shit is insane. It's insane that these guys were allowed to, were made to be this way. The interviews, like I say, when you interview the guy, he says he hates it. The girl is a woman now. Young girl, Lady Willpower, over you. Don't give in to him. Let's give Adam and Eve another chance. Home. Kiss goodbye. Could I? Daylight stranger. Woman. I just don't know what to do with myself. To love somebody, give in. Honey. Don't make promises. The beggar. Keep the customer satisfied. By the time I get to Phoenix, can you tell the pleasure of you, I'm losing you, Reverend Posey. Ew. I gotta see what that one is. Reverend Posey.
That rhymed when you said it, and then said ew rhymed with what you were saying. So it was pretty cool.
Good morning, Reverend Posey. Gee, you haven't changed a bit. Our town is, oh, so peaceful and complete. Myself, I just got fired, and my wife expects our fifth in one more week. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Reverend Posey. The world is looking rosy. With battlefields abroad and some at home, our collection plates of silver or of chrome. Reverend Posey, gee, you sure preached one today. You touched a point to me that's been redeemed. Your voice comes out so pure, but somehow I'm not sure that the word was much the same last year. Good morning, Reverend Posey. Well, I really must get home. It's been a very pleasant afternoon. I always feel so good. Now I'll live like I should, but I don't know if I'll be back soon. That is a weird song. My son, the common cold, if day would come, Lady Madonna, pain drops, his other woman, gentlewoman, lullaby, and I'm just a man. Those are some fucking suggestive songs.
Do you think you could sit here and hold this stone just like this so I can feed this through it and grab the bottom of the chain?
Why do I gotta keep being
Wait,
involved?
you use those ones.
I gotta keep being involved in some shit I want.
I know.
Nothing to do with.
You gotta go a little bit lower so I can. I don't have to hold
He's
it.
always trying to get me to go
Well,
down.
the thing. Okay. No, that's fine. Now I need you to do that with the eyeball, but the eyeball's hole is different. You have to hold it sideways like this. Okay? Mm-mm. Oh, shit.
Look what you
It
did,
must
you
have
little
broken
jerk.
more. I'm gonna have to redo this all on a different chain.
God damn. Or just not. It's okay.
Do Shannon's birthday gift.
Okay, but just miss it one. Just.
Oh, I already did this for her.
You're a doofus.
Pose everything for her. Everything.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy when you and you again you read you can see the interview of the Gary Puckett guy, and he talks about how he hated those songs. He didn't want to record those songs, and he thought that they were creepy, and he thought that the guy was fucking creepy. Isn't it funny how many of those guys behind the scenes, those Jays behind the scenes, would wear like cowboy hats? They'd be like the colonel, or they'd wear like a sailor hat and be like they're the captain or whatever. It's so strange. Such a strange bunch of shit, man. Antarctica will forever be off limits. Which should be enough to make people ask why, but I mean, it's like the whole Earth shape argument is one of those arguments where you're arguing against fantasy and you're arguing against like blind faith, right? Because the only reason people believe the earth is round is because that's what we've been told to believe. And literally every single person you ever come across has no other reason. Like, it's not like you happen to run across one of the few people that have supposedly seen the earth and seen how round it actually is. The majority of the people that you come across in your entire life, they've lived in the same basic spot. They've done the same basic shit. They might have went on an airplane like Thaddeus. Thaddeus is like, I've seen the curvature. I've been on an airplane. And it's like, dude, the windows are curved. They have to be for cabin pressure purposes or some shit. You're seeing the curve in the window. And the funniest part is how many people believe in the round earth and they're Christian. I just think that's such a weird combination. For that is where the Jewish was found.
Well, yeah, but see, you're under the impression that, just because they're Christian, they believe in all of the Bible and they don't.
No,
Because they've been taught that as Christians, they can pick and choose.
Yeah, I know that
So that's
Christians
why.
barely know their Bible. Most of them.
Right. So that's why they can believe in round earth.
Which is, by design. But they also, the churches who...
also wear cotton and nylon, and that's okay nowadays.
The church also is who told them that the earth was round. So, for some reason, the church, long before we could supposedly fly and shit, they just went against the teachings and all that shit to go, nope, it's a big round ball. Like, the funniest part is, why didn't Jesus just say it?
They didn't have technology back then, so that's why.
But why didn't Jesus come down and be like, hey, by the way, we're on a ball flying through space in this indefinite vacuum with multiple planets and possible life everywhere, blah, 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 blah. Why wasn't that the case?
They claimed ignorance.
I mean, it's like, it's stupid. It's stupid. Do the flat earth, do the flat earth. It's so weird how it's just one of these things that seems to make people so mad. I never understand it. Well, no, I do. I understand it from the perspective I had. And the perspective I had was I didn't want it to be right. So I would come at it from that arrogant angle, like dismiss it because I didn't want it to be right, so I didn't want to look at anything. And I didn't want it to be right because I thought it would give Christians a real leg up in the argument. Like, you should jump all over that shit. But they're too stupid to, which isn't surprising. But the whole thing with the earth shape argument, because I'm not sitting here saying it's weird how you say flat earth and the only thing people can wrap their head around is a frisbee in the place of an earth. And that's what they think you're talking about. That it's still space and it's still going around and there's still other planets, but the earth is the one that's the frisbee shape. Like, it's a dumb thing. That's why you'll never hear me say I'm a flat earther. But the the round earth narrative is dumb. It is, and you just haven't, because you've accepted it as this thing, like you've accepted that you actually know more than you do. Part of your mental proof that it all exists is shit like Star Wars. Where in your head you're seeing that kind of stuff and you believe that kind of shit to be a future that we're going to attain here soon. But it's like, the worst part is everybody that that says something stupid, like I hate getting into it, because most people that want to say something, they don't argue, like they haven't done both sides. They barely remember, like space isn't their thing. They're not constantly educating themselves on space and shit. They barely remember what they learned in elementary school, middle school and shit. And they're coming at this from one perspective. They haven't looked into the other side. They haven't looked into the flat earth argument. I challenge any of you, real simply, just go see if you can find it, because you can always find debunk videos, which are shit. But go find 200 proofs the earth is not a spinning ball. Have a pencil and paper with you, and you watch it, and you should be able to just go number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. You should be able to do that. But I want you to just write down each one that you can debunk, and then come on here and bring up those arguments and go, okay, number this, and we'll look at it, and you debunk it. You be the person that does it on here. And you know, I don't understand how else to do a more neutral experiment, right? Because I think the majority of the things that you're going to bring up are things that it's a lot easier to argue when you have a visual aid with you. And so if you watch 200 proofs, that's somebody that, one, knows this topic a lot more than I do, but two, you know, makes a really good presentation that it's either right or it's wrong. So when you therefore go through and you debunk each thing, then that's just an easy, you know, it's a fair, unbiased, you can say this, and then I can go, okay, you're saying argument number 3, I look at argument number 3, you say, you know, and I present the argument, well, he says it's this, you say you can debunk it because of this, and then here's my response. And then that's about as scientific as we can get, you know. We don't have any access to any, like I can't just go jump on a rocket real quick and go look. I know there was recently a rocket that was shot up in the air again, and it showed nothing but flat. 75,000 feet, I think it was at. But it's, you know, other than doing this, I don't know how to debunk myself. Because everything I go try to look up, like the official narrative on shit, is just dumb. The Big Bang narrative is so stupid. It's crazy that it actually caught on. And it must be just because of that bully atmosphere where, you know, we're not allowed to tease each other. We're not allowed to, like, I'm not allowed to show concern for you being a big fat ass. You know, I can't say, oh man, you know, looks like you need some help with losing weight because you're going to die soon, blah, blah, blah. Like, I can't say that without you losing your shit and getting all upset. And right. Oh man, how dare you say anything, but how dare you show concern about me in that way?
Why are you sitting on my shit, cat?
But you guys are absolutely allowed to just, you know, say the most horrible, oh, you need a flat earther. Like, again, I don't even understand why people get so mad at it. It's the same thing as why people get so mad at me not believing in submarines. Why do you need me to believe the same thing you believe? To the point where it makes you mad. And you could say that back to me, but I'm combating what I think are really horrible things that affect us all, and I mean, right now are committing genocide. Like nobody that's a flat earther is out there committing genocide. And yet, you know, if I'm in a conversation and I bring up flat Earth versus genocide, immediately the person's gonna, oh my God, flat Earth, what are you talking about? Acting like they, you know, they have a fucking rocket ship in the backyard that they just jump into and go see the curvature anytime they want. People think like I didn't want to believe that shit. I went into it thinking I'd be smart enough to debunk it. And almost immediately I knew I was wrong. But it's like there's a big difference between you and I, right? You believe the same thing you've believed your whole life. Since you were a little kid and these ideas were forced on you. You were forced to believe that you were on a ball spinning super fast, but you can't feel it. You were forced to believe that the sun is not moving, it's you. And you're going, but I could see it. It was there, now it's over there. Yeah, it's because we moved. And you're forced to accept this, and eventually you just sort of do because you're not allowed to think anything otherwise. You don't get your paycheck if you don't think that same way. Your paycheck being your grades, your freedoms, your whatever. I mean, it's you only believe this shit because you have to, because you were told to and you have to. You have literally no reason to believe that you live on a ball zooming through space or even space. There's nothing to make you think that way. You don't know what that is. You just see black stuff. You see dots and black stuff. Who knows what the fuck that is? I know it doesn't change. I know it works like a really intricate clock. And all the gears working in the same ways and blah, 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 you know. But that's not it. It's balls flying through space, gas giants and meteors and comets. And like, how does a comet get stuck in the sun's gravitational pull? It's such a stupid thing. Like, why would there be rings that go around with planets in them and then little individual comets that just somehow get stuck and then they go out hundreds of years out and come back hundreds of years later? And you know how stupid that is? What the fuck is going on there? I'm crying about it. Look at me crying, says the person who watches me day after day, week after week, month after month, for hours at a time. Yep, I must be doing something wrong. And these things make people mad. How dare you think things I don't think? You're not allowed to think that way. I can't convince you why you should think differently. I don't know any differently. I just know that I think this way because I'm told to, so you should. It's so stupid. Even the submarines is a stupid thing. You know? I didn't fucking know that was going to work out. I thought I was going to fail. I have no reason. Nobody else was talking about it. It should have been really simple. I should have looked it up and it should have been like, oh, well, that's pretty obvious then, huh? Okay, my bad. I guess I made a mistake. And then that would have been it. Like, what could I have done there? That's just not how it worked out. I was shocked when I couldn't find more underwater footage of submarines. I mean, I was shocked that I was right. It wasn't shocking that it didn't exist, you know. I knew to look it up because I knew it wouldn't work. You know, it's amazing how stupid they want us to be when they show, oh, these are submarines coming out of the water. You know, these are submarines ascending up out of the water, and you see them like, you know, there's nothing, and then suddenly submarine pops up and bounces around like it was something was being held underwater. It got let go of and it popped up. That's literally what it looks like. It's the weirdest shit. Doesn't come up slowly, and you know. And if anyone was in that shit, boy, they got their shit rocked. But that's not what you see when they show you the film of it. When they show you the and the one that goes breaking through the ice, that one doesn't go popping up. That one goes slowly and comes out of, you know, like you would expect it to. At least in the animation, it looks like that. But you just start looking into the shit, especially the history, man. The history of submarines was way, way more crazy than I could have ever expected. Do you think when I started looking into submarines, I would have bet that the first submarine, the first supposed submarine, not diving bell, the first working submarine that could submerge underwater and travel long distances and blah, blah. When do you think the first one is built? Like, if I would have said 1620, like, there's nothing in my mind that would have told me that. Nothing in my schooling that would have told me that. I don't ever remember anyone ever talking about Cornelius Drebbel, when in reality, Cornelius Drebbel, according to history, is one of the most incredible fucking, like, people ever. They say this man could make it thunder and lightning on command. Like, an official science guy must have demonstrated this multiple times for the claim to have followed him this long. Built the first working submarine in 1620. Even took the king of the time in the submarine. At least according to the narrative. And, you know, and it wasn't considered a viable, like the upper brass at the time couldn't see any viable purpose for a boat that could travel underwater unseen. So they didn't put any money into it, and it sort of disappeared. And it wasn't for another 100 years, and blah, blah. And just the story of the submarine, 1850, they have a submarine that can travel 150 feet below the surface and open up a hatch on the bottom so they can harvest oysters and shit. What light were they using? Shut up, don't worry about it. And then you get to Rickover in the 50s, and you get to the guy with behind the nuclear powered subs, and the history of this guy born a J, but he converted to Protestantism, because that's what you hear about all the time. Those J's that convert to Protestantism. And he just, they needed a nuclear submarine. He invented a nuclear submarine. We don't have, you know, before we have like nuclear power or anything like this, it's not like we have little individual nuclear generators and shit, but nuclear submarines, boom, no problem. It's just so stupid. It's just so stupid. They make air by electrifying the distilled water. They take the salt water and turn it into, distill the salt out, and then they shock that water, and then they collect the oxygen molecules that come out, and they're left with a bunch of liquid hydrogen that they're just dumping back into the water. I guess I don't fucking know. It's so stupid. I would love to see the process of somebody running a current through water and and taking the oxygen out of the water and then creating liquid hydrogen. I'd love to see it. Won't find that. Won't find a lot of videos. You'll find a lot of videos of people in submarines walking around like they're walking on land, not feeling the effects of being in a submarine at all, not feeling the effects of crashing through ice, not feeling the effects of going up or down, none of that. But they can draw on paper and talk on the phone. Oh, look, I'm on the telephone. Do. You'll see a lot of videos of boats going across the water where most of the boat is underwater, but the top's sticking out, and they're holding their American flag. Look, we got a boat. Yes, they have boats that can go mostly underwater, no doubt. They do not have submarines that can go all through the ocean and swim like a big whale and shit. Anyway, that's enough for me. My throat is cashed. My body hurts. I wasn't even going to do this today. I was actually going to stop, but then I thought, nah, forget it. Yo, home's to Bel Air. Go get your free shit. It's in the description. Go watch Hollywoodism, most importantly, in the description. Go educate yourself, and then come back tomorrow and tell me what I'm wrong about. That works for me, works for you. Free download, www.the-bilderberg-group.com. First things first, get your free download, then go watch Hollywoodism, then go to the Facebook page, and watch some fucking free videos and shit. Most importantly, hey, thank you, Karen, you have a great day. Most importantly, you pedophiles, you kill yourself.